And so what I have here, and I threw these characters up into Discord. So the three different ways that I'm thinking that you can go about creating these characters are drawing shapes and building up the shapes layer by layer. Or there's one method where it's mostly Pathfinder, where you're connecting shapes. Or there's another method, which is what I'm kind of doing here with this character, where you basically just work with outlines. And I think this is the method, Randa, that maybe like you're kind of working in.
Yeah.
And the idea is the thickness of the stroke can get in the way sometimes. So hitting Command Y just lets you see the stroke and it hides everything else. Because, and I'll show you that, why that's helpful in a second. But here I have a couple drawings. I'm going to grab these. So I was working on this logo, let's say. It's kind of like the Illuminati, I guess. Some secret organization, maybe. And it was based off of this drawing. So there's the sketch and there's the logo. So the idea with this one is I created it just by creating basic shapes. I didn't even really trace. I used the thumbnail as a reference, and I started building up shapes, and each layer has a shape. So when you build it up, and I'll kind of go in reverse, I'll hide these elements. So it basically started with this shape right here, and then I drew another kind of, it's like a quadrilateral type shape, right? It's the four-sided polygon, so basically a polygon. And when I drew the gold, or this yellow gold one on top of the black outlines, it was really helpful for me to hit Command Y or Control Y just to see the outlines, because there's two shapes on top of each other, and if I couldn't see the outlines, and I'm going to unlock the one on top and kind of move it out a little bit. If I didn't have these outlines available to me, and if I was just working in this mode, it's hard for me to line things up perfectly to get a nice, consistent border of the same width going all the way around. So hitting Control Y lets me go in here, use my direct selection tool, grab a point, and just put it right on top. And then I would also make sure I have snap to points on. So you go to view, turn on snap to point. So when I grab that top point, it snaps right into place. So this way the shape on top would fit in nicely with the shape down below. And then I start to add, just simple details. So there's a line, that's a thinner stroke, and then I have this eyeball here. So that was basically created with, first part of it was basically two circles, and then using Pathfinder intersect to get the intersection, and then creating the inside of it and adding an oval for the eye, and then adding a little stroke just to get that detail. It's kind of like the, you always see these little details in eyeballs, in the pupil of an eyeball. So just adding that little detail just adds some interest to it. And then the background was basically a quick shape that I drew and duplicated. But again, for the the orange part, I didn't want it to be completely even. So this is where I had to lock down the black part and then just grab the points and kind of adjust points like this. But again, if I hit Control Y, then it's easier for me to see these things sometimes, to adjust things. Is there a question, or here's something in the background? So, being able to hit Command Y or Control Y as you're working is really helpful. So this example is more of a shape-based example. And then I had another example that was based on a combination of strokes and the Pathfinder and shapes as well. So when I did this one, it was pretty basic, just drawing the shapes, filling the shapes, and layering the shapes. And every time I drew a new shape, I would create a new layer, lock down the previous layer, and keep on working up. And then with the eyeball, it started like that, but eventually I grouped all the pieces together so it combined them on all the layers. Now I have this other example of another character. So I'll create a new file here. Oops. So here's another kind of logo mascot character. So this guy is a little ice cream cone man. It's like most wanted ice cream, most wanted flavors, try happy ice cream or whatever. So that's like the concept, right? So to create this one though, I'd probably use a combination of Pathfinder and just using strokes and expanding strokes. So this is another technique too where it would be helpful to use Command Y or Control Y. I'm going to first make my layers really big under panel options. Make that big so I can see them up here. Double click on that first layer, dim it to like 30. Lock it. I'm going to lock it right in the dialog. Hit lock. And then create a new layer. So here to break it down, like something like this, the ice cream on top is really just a bunch of circles, just a bunch of ovals basically. When I draw these, I left click, I draw out, and then I hit the space bar to position. So if I hit the space bar, I can position as I go along, which is a nice way to just make sure I have these circles where I want them. So that would be the top, and then maybe what I can start to do now is combine these things, but I won't combine them just yet. What I'm going to do is lock down this layer for the ice cream, and then create a new layer, and then let's say this layer is the cone. So I'll just use the regular pen tool. So yeah, when I'm done drawing it out, I hit Shift Control A or Shift Command A to deselect. So that part's good. And then here I'll start to use the Pathfinder. For example, create a new layer for the mouth. Mouth is basically a half circle. One of the things I want to do though, before I get too far into this, is I want to have a central guide in the middle, so it gives me a little sense of symmetry, and that will help make the logo feel a little bit more balanced. So I'll hit Command R or Control R, drag out a guide, and then I'm going to go back to my ice cream cone and kind of adjust. So I'm going to hit A. Just adjust this a little bit. So he's a little bit more centered. And I think that's good. And then I'll create the mouth. And now that I have a guide, I can make sure that my mouth is coming from the center. So what you can do is you can hit Shift and Alt, and actually be on top of that guy, hit Shift and Alt. And my cone is a little off, but I'll fix that later. But here I'm going to start to use the Pathfinder, so I'll just use the rectangle as a way to cut the mouth. So I'll go into Pathfinder, select both pieces, and then go into minus front. So now I have a mouth there. For the eye, I will draw a circle. And then I will use my reflect tool. So I'm going to go under rotate.
So did you do Command Y here to make it stronger?
Well, if I do Command Y, I mean, it just helps me see just the strokes, you know.
I see what you mean.
So the idea is too, it's like, it's just showing you like the main wireframe look of the artwork that you're working on when you hit Command Y or Control Y, which is helpful. You know, it gets rid of the drawing, gets rid of a lot of things. Here I'm just going to duplicate the eyeball and reflect it. So I'm using the mirror tool here, reflect tool. I click once on that guide, and then I hit Alt, and I just drag, and now that's in the center. So the only thing that I see now is like the cone's off, so maybe I gotta go into this cone and adjust, kind of adjust visually. And now I'm going to create a new layer, and this time though this layer is going to be for the arms. So the arms, you know, are just simple shapes, and what I can do is just create a stroke. So I'll use the curvature tool this time, so it has a nice like roundness to it. I'm going to double click once, click, double click again, and then hit Shift Command A. I just want to fix this part here. And adjust this part. Then fix this here. What you can do sometimes is to fix things, you can grab some points, hit R for rotate, and then you're only rotating the points that you have selected. So adjusting it like that. And so once I have an arm here, I'm going to select it, increase the stroke width. Oops. And then go into window, stroke, go into the options, and then for the arm I want to have it rounded at the end, so I'll just click on this rounded cap and maybe even make it a little bit thicker. Maybe that's too much. And then go to object, expand, stroke, hit OK. And then I can just have the outline there, fill it with white. Here I'm going to bring it below the cone, so I'm going to drag it below the cone layer, and then maybe I can even go into my cone and fill that with white too. So now that I have an arm and I have that line in the middle. I can do the same thing with the mirror. So I can go into reflect, find the guide, the central point, and then shift option or shift alt. So I got that. And then same thing for the legs. So here with the legs, I'll use the curvature tool again, create a new layer, lock those other layers, and then drag that out like that, get rid of that fill. So I have a leg, and then I have like a shoe, and the shoe is basically a circle, and it's just like the mouth. You draw out a circle, you just kind of place it here, and then you create a rectangle, and then you go into Pathfinder, minus front, and then I'll go into that stroke too, make it thicker. Maybe adjust this. Shoe a little bit. And then expand. Hit OK. And then grab those two pieces and go to Pathfinder and unite. And now I got one leg. And I'll do the symmetry again. And then fill that. And fill that. So, you know, here's like another character. The last thing is the ice cream on top. So I will lock everything but the ice cream, which is kind of the hair, I guess. Grab those pieces, unite, and then I have this section down below. So since it's behind, what I can do is I can create a shape, have it go below the cone, and then do another unite. So grab the ice cream, grab that new shape, unite again, and then that's kind of like another character. So, you know, that's using a combination of Pathfinder and expanding strokes. But it's kind of a combination of using just about everything. And then you can go ahead to, if once you have that guide in the center, it's kind of nice because maybe I can add a background to this. Yeah, so that's one example. But this other example with this hot dog character, so this is an example where you draw the outlines and you're just drawing more and more outlines. So this would be the longest one to do, because you're kind of drawing like a series of outlines. you're drawing all the different pieces as a set of outlines instead of using Pathfinders. And I'm just going really quickly through here. So you do one set of outlines for the whole outline around the contour of the image. And then you do another set that kind of details kind of like shadows and other parts of it. So like, let's say I do a set for this part of the bun. Let's see. Then, you know, so you're doing a whole series of outlines. This is the most kind of like time-consuming method that you can work on for this. But sometimes it gives you like the nicest results. So that's like the headband, the mouth, then like even features like the face. You just don't draw one line, you kind of have to go through and draw out the whole shape that makes up the face. So you get like details like this, and then you go through. You don't necessarily need to use strokes, but you can, but you use more fills. You either get something like that. You know, same with the headband.
You're in black and white.
Yeah, it's kind of you can start in black and white, but like once you keep on going, then you can fill in areas with color. Like even like the hot dog part of him actually. What I might want to do, and this is where hitting Control I or Command I is really helpful. Because maybe like some of these things may be a little bit too thick. I may have to adjust them. But what I'd want for like the body, let's say, is to draw like a contour. Just for like the hot dog part. And and then you can start to play with like different shades of color. I'm gonna have to adjust this part. This is where you kind of get really into like lots of detail. So here, now that I drew that piece, you know, I can kind of, and actually let me make a new layer now too, and get some of the eyes. I'll just make, circles for eyes. Now I'll go back to the body and then start playing with color so I can and I probably should have drew the mouth. And these other things on different layers, but and then, you know, I would build it up. Like, I would create an outline for the bun. I'd make the teeth, all the details in the shoes. Yes, I'll go ahead and create a new layer for, like, this part of the bun. But there is kind of like this outline that exists, like the thickness of the outlines are due to the fact that you have shapes layered on top of each other, and you're not really adding thickness to the strokes. But out of like these methods, this is like the most like time-consuming one, but I think it's the nicest one. And you'll notice that a lot of clip art does stuff like this. I would spend a lot more time making things even. What I might have to do for this example too is finish it later.
Will the the outline of the drawing eventually get a fill?
Yeah, the whole thing.
Yeah, like the first layer.
Yeah. So like this would, yeah. So that would definitely get a fill.
Oh, then it's just like a black.
Well, you could play with color. So like if he's pink, maybe his legs and arms is like a lighter shade, let's say. You know, then maybe the bun
Yeah, brown.
is more of a brownish, yeah. Yeah, but yeah, then I'd have to kind of figure out other aspects of it. But this is where too, like your lines really have to be nice and smooth. And that's why having everything on a separate layer is really helpful, because then you get into the like, you know, adjusting like subtle aspects of
Points.
this. Yeah, like going point by point. But I think in the end you get some really good results. You know, just adjusting. So this is kind of, yeah, it's kind of like the method where you see a lot of clip art. If you like find clip art that you like and kind of dissect it, it's kind of being done like this, where each aspect is being drawn out, and then you colorize, and then you can kind of get into more details with this too, like when you do like the parts down here, you'd add like more thickness, but maybe what you could do is like for the shorts, let's say, I'm going to create a layer in between that hot dog there. Let's move that out. Like maybe the whole hot dog is actually black. And that's where you start to play with like the stroke itself has like a certain quality to it, like variations in the thickness. And then you can add maybe some details with the pen tool. Actually, I'll use the curvature tool. Like almost like cross hatching details. And like you play with like different types of cross hatching or like shading type details. Or you can just use one stroke. Like maybe there's like actually some type of shadow that comes underneath a little bit.
Like the wrinkles.
Kind of, yeah, like wrinkles in the clothing or like a shadow effect. You can use one stroke. And then what you can do, actually, one thing I have to do is that stroke right there is like not 100% black, so I'm going to double click on the stroke. See how the circle for the color is a little off? I just like to go right in the corner and make sure that RGB is 000. So because there's a stroke here that's not 100% black going around it too, and you can kind of see the difference in the blacks. So that fixes that. There's one. Same thing with this area. And then, yeah, that's fixed. Then this stroke here, what I like to do is use my selection tool and go up into the control panel here. This first area next to the stroke size, you click down and you pick like something that has like a triangle shape to it, and you get nice, really nice like tapered strokes. And if you increase, yeah, so maybe this comes like down there, something like that. See how that looks? Kind of has like a nice look to it. So you start to do folds in clothing, stuff like that. And then the other thing you can do too, like this bun maybe has a highlight to it. So adding strokes for highlights. So it's kind of the same thing where you're going in with the curvature tool. It's mostly up here. And use for the stroke, just increase the thickness, and then use the rounded cap, and then pick a color that is, let me just adjust it. You know, pick a color that's a little bit lighter than the hot part of it. So you can start to add your highlights on top. So you do, you know, some parts are going to be shadows and some parts are going to be highlights. Same thing with the bun or the hot dog part, maybe has a nice highlight. So I can finish this in another video if you guys want. I'm not going to finish the whole thing, but you can kind of see the different methods, right? So using shapes, shape method, where you're just drawing shapes. I don't even trace it. I'm using the drawing as a reference, but I'm not tracing over it. This method, which is a combination of Pathfinder and strokes, and then combining, taking the strokes, expanding them, and then doing more Pathfinder. And then this version is basically straight on drawing and drawing the different shapes and elements and building it up, kind of building it up from the bottom up, basically. So a couple different techniques that you guys can take advantage of. Is there any questions? So, you know, think of those 3 techniques to build up your character, or start to combine them, you know, the techniques as well. Do a lot of combining. But I kind of like doing, you know, once I do this one, I would really go in here and start to clean this up a little bit. Maybe even going into simplify. You got object, path, simplify. Try to limit the number of points on that. Sometimes it makes it worse. But yeah, you have to do, you know, you'll have to do a lot of adjusting for this technique. Like all those subtle details to get good line thicknesses. Yeah, so it's kind of fun though, once you come up with a character that you like. You know, it can really work out. So any questions about that? So who has sketches for me to see? I know a lot of you have handed some stuff in.
Joe, I send them my extraction for you.
Okay, so let's see. How do you send it? Oh.
Discord.
Oh, okay. All right. Then I guess I have Zoe sent me something too, and Caesar, and you know Randa's been working. So let's see what you got.
I send the chicken leg.
Yeah, so let's see your chicken leg. All right, that's cool. So what is the what's the idea behind it? What's your campaign, right? So now you got a character. So the character is great. I love him or her. So what's the campaign gonna be for? What's the story? Remember we talked. This is kind of like the important part is the story.
What was the question?
So the question is, it's for it's for a campaign, right?
Yeah.
So what is this for? Like the cute little chicken leg. What are you trying to sell? Are you actually selling chicken legs, or is it for like?
Just selling kind of like fried chicken.
Then maybe it's for like maybe it's a mascot for a fast food restaurant.
Yeah.
Um, like, Jollibee. Have you guys ever been to Jollibee?
No.
You guys,
Boba?
what?
Got the
I
boba?
haven't heard it before.
No, it's like a Filipino hamburger restaurant.
No.
No.
Does it have like a bee?
Yeah, it has like a little B logo.
Oh, I've seen it.
There's one in Koreatown.
Yeah, there's one in Koreatown and there's one in Carson. What was the there was a show. What was the show? The guy passed away, but it was that food show, and you go around the different places around the world.
Anthony Bourdain.
Oh,
Yeah,
Jollibee?
Anthony Bourdain. There's Jollibee right there. That's Jollibee. Yeah, there's one in Carson too. The one in Carson's closer to me. But it's a cute character. Representing the restaurant. Filipino hamburger restaurant. What's funny is Anthony Bourdain went to the one off of La Brea. It's in Koreatown. I think it's like La Brea and 3rd. And he ordered a hamburger there, and he was like, "Oh, this is the best hamburger ever." And so I was excited, and I was like, "Well, there's one of these in Carson." So I went to the one in Carson, and I ordered the hamburger that he ordered on the show, and it was like the worst hamburger I ever had. It was totally weird. It felt like it was made out of like soybeans or something. It didn't taste right at all. It's like I can't believe he liked it, but I kind of found out like each one is kind of different, and it's almost like even though they're a chain, they're independent in a way. It's like going to 2 different McDonald's, and the one McDonald's makes their Big Macs different than the other one. So anyways, but sorry, I kind of digress. So yeah, I think it should be a fast food restaurant then.
Yeah.
It's very cute. It's very
Is it too easy?
What do you mean?
I mean, like it's really easy to draw that.
It's easy to draw, but the hard part's going to be creating the character in Illustrator.
Oh, okay.
So I think you should definitely keep it simple.
Oh.
Yeah, make it easy. Don't make it difficult.
Okay.
Keep the sketch simple,
Uh-huh.
and do the techniques that I just showed you.
Okay.
Figure out which works best. If you have little thin arms, then I think the best technique for a thin arm is just to draw a stroke.
Uh-huh.
Uh,
Or just like one line, or just not just like you showed us before, like there's a hand or
well, you draw one line just like this.
uh-huh.
You make it thicker.
Oh.
You go to Object, and you go into Expand. And hit OK, and now it's a shape.
Did you
Oh.
do Command Y here?
Well, look, if I do Command Y, this is kind of good to see. So if I draw that line, and I hit Command Y, it's a stroke. It's still a line, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'll go back, and when I go into Object, Expand, hit OK, and now I hit Command Y. Now it's a shape.
Oh, okay, I get it.
Yeah, you see the difference?
Yeah.
So if you have simple, oops, I don't want to go back. If you have simple, like stick figure type aspects to the character, then just draw a stroke and then turn it into a shape.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, and then figure out, you again, it can be a combination of Pathfinder and tracing and building shapes and strokes.
Oh,
So yeah, figure out what the campaign is now. Keep the character and then create them in Illustrator and then figure out what is your campaign.
okay.
Come up with a campaign idea.
Oh.
So let's see another one.
Okay, thank you, Joe.
Oh, you're welcome.
So when you say make a story, like, I mean, what kind of a story we have to come up with?
Well, you gotta figure out what your product is and then kind of justify it in the campaign, right? So, just like here, Emmy created a character, but she didn't have a story really. And still we just started talking about it, right? And the first thing that Emmy said was, well, it's for fried chicken, right? But to me, that's not giving me enough information. So when I say story is, I'm just saying provide more details. So instead of just saying it's for fried chicken, it's for a restaurant, that sells fried chicken. Maybe, the restaurant sells just drumsticks exclusively or something like that. And, and then that helps with the rest of the project because now you can come up with that most wanted headline and then maybe some text that describes other things as well. Talking about this restaurant, the best drumsticks in town. Maybe there's a little blurb, like a call out, a little call to action, try our drumsticks, in the corner. So that's kind of what I mean by story.
Okay.
Like creating the, just go beyond creating the artwork. So let's look at another one. So I'm going to go to File, Place, and I already downloaded a couple of these, so I think okay, Zoe. So so this is really cool. So explain this character and what you're trying to do. Are you there? Oh, she's not even there. Okay. Well, I like her style, so that should be interesting. Okay, let me go on to somebody else then. So these are Caesar's drawings. So I would kind of ask him the same thing. What is this for? What's this story? He's not here either, but give me a story. Is this for a video game? Is it for some sort of product? Flesh it out for me. I like the character. So go ahead and just provide all the information about what this is for, and then you can go forth and do the whole campaign. Does anybody else have any sketches? Christian, do you have anything?
Actually, I was reading the assignment. What is the most wanted campaign incorporate a character, or kind of confused?
Yeah, so the idea is you're creating a campaign and then you have a character. So let's go back now to this example. So I'm going to take these. So this was an example I did last Tuesday about maybe this was for like some sort of like hand sanitizer. So you have elements of the campaign, but the one element that's going to be consistent is the character, the logo. and then you have the different pieces of collateral. So this big one right here is a poster, and then this over here is a web banner, and this is like a social post, and maybe this is a postcard.
Okay.
So the sketch itself, the sketch is you're working on the character, you know, so most wanted, germ-free. So you're playing off of the words too, most wanted, and this is basically the name of the campaign. You know, this is the most wanted campaign.
The germs would be targeted by the product in this case.
Yeah, like a germ-free world, let's say.
Oh, okay.
Most wanted, a germ-free world, and then the character down here is is part of that product. Let's say so.
So the word most wanted has to be there?
Yes. Yeah, that's part of the campaign. It's kind of like, just think of movie posters. You know, you have the title for the poster, and then you have the elements, the images that make up the poster, but that title is always consistent. So if you see an advertisement for, you know, the Avengers, you know, whether it's a movie poster or a banner or Instagram post, they all share the same design and main title, you know, throughout the whole campaign. So the campaign's always consistent. So you're keeping things consistent. So yeah, so this, what I wanted tonight was start to see sketches for the character that's going to be the focus of the campaign. Yeah, so that's, and then the design would be consistent throughout. So you want to use the same colors, same fonts throughout the whole campaign itself. So yeah, do you understand a little better now?
Yeah, definitely. I got an idea right now.
So does anybody else have any examples they want to show, sketches? Rosio, Vivian?
I have like 2 sketches, but I have them on paper. I don't have, I didn't put them on the chat.
Oh, well, go ahead if you know, go ahead and take a photo and put it on Discord, and then I can look at it. And I just want to make sure everybody has a, besides having the character mascot logo, I want to make sure you have like a, you know, the idea behind the campaign, so you can design something consistent. So just send me your sketches, and then I can kind of review them.
Joe?
Yes.
So I also have mine on paper, and for some reason I can't find the group on Discord anymore. I was gonna ask, what is the name of like the group?
Oh. Okay, hold on.
Yeah, I was having the same problem too.
You lost.
Yeah, the link that you sent us wouldn't let me. It said it was expired.
Oh. You guys are here. So it's you know, DMA 10, but I'll send out a new link. Cause I see you, Vivian. I see you guys here. But let me send out the link again. I'm gonna throw it into the chat, so you have to do it. Right away. Serious, I'm going to show you guys now some examples of what integrated campaigns are and the idea of behind this. So, I think this is good. So here it's kind of consistent throughout. So this one for Power Clinic. So basically you have the same font, same colors. You got some things that are different. And then you're seeing everything that goes into that campaign. Let me find some other ones. So here's another example of what we're doing. So here for this particular product, you see all the different pieces that go into it. You have some sort of postcard, email, micro website, an ad in a magazine. So here I think some more examples. So you have printed pieces, and then you have the web pieces. So, it's all about consistent branding, and once you get to the stage where you're thinking about the design, having that design consistent for everything. And let me see. Like here's another example. So like the stripes coming through, where the logo's at, other pieces of the project have a consistency to them. So, any other questions? You guys understand the whole idea? So, you design your logo, and then maybe you think about the backgrounds, a gradient, and the headline is always going to be the same, it's always going to be the same font and the same color, and maybe there's some design elements you add, and, but each piece is going to have that same look and feel once you're done. Is there any other questions about this? If you look up integrated campaign, you'll find lots of examples actually. And a good place to probably go is just Pinterest. And look it up on there's an example there. So you might find more examples here. Here's another one. This is for Floyd's Barbershop. So everything has a consistent feel to it. Doesn't necessarily mean that everything is the same. With the look of the models represented, how everything's centered, the font, all the people in the ads, they are all wearing sunglasses. So they're trying to be cool in a certain way. The color scheme, black backgrounds for everything. Even the way the photos are handled, there's no outlines. They're just kind of, there's no stroke surrounding the rectangles containing the images. So that's a good example. And these are the social ads too, which is interesting. So for the social ads, for Instagram, they're doing this duotone, the red and the black together, kind of a duotone effect. So it has an interesting look and feel to it. So yeah, that's I hope that helps you understand a little better what this idea is. It's to really make you think about branding and consistency and developing a style.
But the writing is on the picture, and is this what you want us to do?
Yeah, I mean, the one thing that connects this together. So, this campaign, it looks like it's for finding a cure one haircut at a time. So that's the campaign, right? So you could say this is the find a cure campaign. This is what they're doing. This is, on a certain level, and the ad agency that was hired to do this probably pitched them this campaign: find a cure, one haircut at a time campaign. So that's the name of the campaign, which is different than the name of the product or the the service, which is Floyd's Barbershop. So the logo you're creating is like the logo that is for Floyd's Barbershop, but instead of cure one haircut at a time, you're using most wanted. So your campaign is most wanted. That's where your text comes in. So you could have most wanted in the middle here. Most wanted, a good haircut. Most wanted, a cure. So you kind of see how they're, like, when you have posts that are similar, you can kind of think of those posts as a particular campaign. So you have the one haircut at a time campaign, but then you also have this, the rave review, how that's set up, which is kind of interesting. So let's see if I find any more. So yeah, so those are some examples to think about. Yeah, if you go back and watch the video, then you'll see. But look up, different, campaigns. Like, can you think of a campaign for a product that really stands out?
Just
What was it?
I just uploaded my picture, and I kind of got the influence from this medicine that I remember they have like frequent commercials. I think it's called like Mucinex. It's about like boogers getting like infected in the nose or something like that.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, it was like pest free or something like that, like a
Right.
cockroach.
And that's a good example of a campaign, right?
Yeah.
We didn't hear him. What did he say?
He's saying there's Mucinex, which is like some like anti congestion medicine.
Yeah.
They have an animated character that you see in all the commercials. So if you look up, you could probably look it up too, the Mucinex campaign. And let's see. It's this guy. It's this guy right here.
Yeah.
So look, if you look down here though, this is an integrated campaign. They feature the character, little 3D animation, blob, whatever.
He looks like panicked.
Yeah. But see, the backgrounds are very, they're kind of minimalistic. They're still exciting because of the boldness of the text and how it's set at an angle. But if you watch the commercials are pretty crazy for Mucinex, right? They're like being sucked into something or being destroyed in some way. So this seems like almost sedate compared to the commercials. Yeah, it looks like the Mucinex campaign is almost trying to be a little bit more infographic. Doing an infographic look and feel versus the full 3D animated world type look. So yeah, I think that's a good sketch. So think about refining it so you don't have lots of details, simplifying it.
Yeah, that's what I was looking at. It looks a bit like complicated.
Yeah, for this, don't get too much into details. Keep it simple. So yeah, that's fun. Anybody else have anything?
I also uploaded my sketches to Discord.
Oh, okay. Okay, so you guys, okay, let's see. And I don't see it yet. Oh, there it. You're. Oh. What is this for?
I was thinking a video game. It's supposed to be like a Super Mario Piranha.
Oh.
Kind of, but a little on the scarier side.
Yeah, it reminds me of Little Shop of Horrors, like Audrey. Yeah, I mean, again, simplify it. Pick one, right? You're not gonna have two. Then if it's, what would be the most wanted part if this is for a video game? You would have to come up with the name of the video game. So how do you tell that story with most wanted?
I'm not sure. I haven't gotten that far into developing it.
I mean, what was that?
I haven't gotten
to be like the villain.
Can you say that louder, Christian?
Oh, sorry. I was just pitching an idea that could be like your villain in your video game.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that's what I kind of was going for, trying to make it a bit on the villainous side.
Be like the final boss.
Yeah, basically. But I haven't like hashed out a full-fledged concept per se.
Okay. I mean, yeah, most wanted. Most wanted a champion or something to defeat the boss monster.
Hold on a second.
Most wanted. Champions, most wanted. Most wanted victory over the boss monster or something like that.
I still don't understand what is it about? What's the drawing about?
This drawing?
Mm-hmm.
It's a monster of some sort in a game.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, it's like a.
But lots of details. How is she gonna draw it?
Well, I think Rosie, you'd have to scale back the details a little bit, right?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, simplify it. But draw it first and just kind of feel, the technique that works best.
Maybe she can use image trace, right? Instead of doing it with the curvature tool.
I would use the pen tool or the curvature tool. I wouldn't necessarily image trace this. But go slow, you know, you go slow and then you have to tweak it a little bit. Or, I mean, you could just use shapes too, if you really want to simplify it. So, for example,
I'm finding it difficult when you do with the curvature tool, and then you finish one area, and then you want to go back like somewhere close and draw back again. You know how like it you get attacked by that drawing. You know what I mean?
yeah, you have to lock it and then unlock it.
You mean lock it and unlock it with what? The ship command A, or what do you mean lock it and unlock it?
Double click.
Yeah, that's a double click just to do a corner. So let's say I'm using the curvature tool and I created the shape here. I select it and I hit Command or Control 2 to lock it. And then I create a new layer. And let's say I'm going to do the teeth now. For the teeth, I won't use the curvature tool. I'll just use.
Did you lock the layer, the previous layers, and now you're working with a new layer?
Yes.
You
Yep.
lock them. That's why it didn't affect.
Yeah, you lock it, but when you want to go back, now let's say I do want to adjust this original circle, but now it's locked, or this shape. But since it's locked, you know, I can't do anything. So what you have to do is go to Object and just go to Unlock All, and then you can select it again. Yeah, and that's it. So here too, it's like you know, simplifying, playing with layers.
So Command 2 would lock it, and then you go to Object to unlock it.
Yeah, it's actually, or you can do a Option Command 2 to unlock.
Okay.
But if you don't lock and unlock things, when I use that curvature tool again, the curvature tool is actually, like here, I'm trying to, I guess it's okay. It just depends. Sometimes if you draw a curve and you use that curvature tool, you see how it like kind of selected the curve now? It selected the first curve. That's why I lock things down. And then
How did
unlock.
you lock? Oh, the Command 2. I'm sorry.
What?
I'm sorry, nothing.
Yeah, Command or Control 2 is locking. So I like to create layers, draw, lock it, create another layer, and then work in steps. Don't do everything in one layer, but working these steps, it makes it easier to select things as your object, your image gets busier and busier. So it's very helpful. All right. Does that help you, Rosio?
Yeah, you did. You helped me a lot.
And you kind of see what I'm doing. It's like the drawing's complicated, but then like
You simple it down and
yeah, it's just, you know, you got to play with it. You know, just play with the shapes and, you know, decide what feels right.
cool.
So,
Yeah.
anybody else?
Joe,
Yes.
I have a question about the assignment 8 because you said it's one font should be serif and other will be like sans serif, right? So I just wonder what's the font for? Like most wanted will be
Well,
another.
it could be, you can do anything you want,
Oh.
but I want to see you play with contrast in the font. So, you know, just have more than one font. So if most wanted is set, I don't know if that's, set to something like that, then, don't use this font for everything else. Use another font that kind of stands out.
Okay, just say it's not going to have to be that you show us on assignment, right?
It's not what, Emmy? I'm sorry.
I'm just saying, just like we can pick what we want to show the fonts, right?
Oh yeah, you pick whatever fonts you want. Yeah. Don't copy what I have.
Okay, I got it.
Yeah.
It says the sans serif and the serif.
Yeah, so it's two contrasting fonts. So here is a serif font for Most Wanted, and then maybe the headline Most Wanted is in that thick serif font. But then for more of your body text, you can use find something here. Like Garamond, which is a serif font. So, yeah, you have to get it to work where you have some nice contrast in your fonts, basically.
Thanks, you.
So Most Wanted, a vacation. And then, bless you.
Oh, thank you. I'm sorry. I thought it's on mute. I'm sorry.
So like an arrangement like this, where you have a serif, sans serif font, it's big and bold, but then you have a serif font just to kind of like offset the boldness of the sans serif font, give it some variety. It's more pleasant to look at. It's almost easier on the eyes too if you have that variety, and then using your fonts to make certain things stand out a little bit more. So that's the idea with the fonts, just playing with a variety of fonts. But what I'm telling you is, pick two and then pick a serif and a sans serif so you have that variety. Anybody else? Any other questions?
Did that the hot dog character have some sort of meaning for the assignment, or was it just random?
Which character?
The hot dog one. You
Oh, the hot dog.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was random.
I was trying to just figure it out.
Like, what was
That's
this
why
before?
Yeah.
It was. I was trying to just come up with examples before class, and I just thought of the hot dog. Like, what would it be for though? I mean, maybe it's for like hot dogs that promote weight loss. A new
Marathon.
Yeah, yeah. Marathon hot dogs.
Protein hot dogs.
Yeah. Most Wanted, a healthy hot dog. Try Marathon hot dogs. And that's the logo. That's the guy.
Okay.
That's the.
Yeah.
But I just made it. You're just making it all up.
Yeah.
So then you had that story, but then you have enough information now to add into your campaign.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I was just having fun with the character. So any other questions? All right. Well, I mean, I guess we'll come to a close here. It's like almost 9 o'clock. Um, so send me your sketches. I just want to make sure everybody's on the right track. And then what we can do on Tuesday is start to look at the actual design of the campaign. So I think by Tuesday of this next week, you should have your sketch idea, what the character is, what the campaign is, and then we can focus on the final design, working on that design. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
So if you're a little confused right now about the campaign, just focus on the character, and then we can, once you have a character ready, we can get more into the details about the campaign on Tuesday. And so yeah, that's it then. All right, everybody. Then I'm gonna call it a night, and then I'll send you these videos, so it may help you in developing the character. Any last minute questions before I say goodbye?
No.
So how did you do the legs and the hands? Did you just draw one line and you made it thicker?
Yeah, this method is the outline method. So I just drew an outline all the way around the character.
Okay, I see. With the curvature tool.
I use the curvature tool,
Okay. Okay. And you do layers because the inside ones you just use layers to and locking the layers so you can draw the inside ones.
Yeah, well, every time I create a new piece of artwork, I like to work on a new layer.
Yes.
Because as it gets more complicated, it gets harder to select things. If they're all on different layers, then it's easier.
Yes. And you lock the other layers.
And I lock them as I go. Yep.
Okay.
All right. Well, and if you guys need help too, I can always do one-on-one Zoom meetings to help you out. So just let me know, okay?
Thank you very much.
All right, guys. All right, you're welcome.
Thank you. Take care.
Yep. Have a good night, and let me know if you need help, okay?
Thanks. Bye-bye.
All right. Talk to you guys later.
Hi, good night.
Bye.